Hello, Blick participants. I apologize that I'm not able to join you live this evening. My son's swim meet is running a little later than usual. I apologize for that, but I wanted to give you an introduction to our next module, which is Module 4, Integrating Your Blended Course. The module will open on Tuesday, and as always, Jan and I are going to give you a preview so that you feel comfortable working through the information in the topic. The first thing I want to show you is that at the very beginning of the module, you will see that there is a participant survey. You need to go in and take that. If you can, on Tuesday, they are looking for some feedback. They do need that for the project. So they're asking that you take care of that before starting Module 4. If you're not there yet, you still can log in and actually take the participant survey. After the participant survey, you can see that we begin, as we always do, with the introduction to the module, an overview that will show us what you are going to be learning. And the emphasis here is that really it should not be about just posting things online. Blended instruction should change your classroom. Use of technology and blended learning requires a shift in thinking. They have to be redefined as flexible learning environments. The learning goes beyond the classroom walls and confines of the school day. Our objectives are to use student-centered instructional strategies, to identify and use a variety of Webb 2.0 tools that are appropriate for Bloom's taxonomy, collaborate with colleagues on Webb 2.0 tools that may be used with students in solving problems, and identify technology tools and strategies to move project-based learning into the online environment. The vocabulary for the module includes project-based learning, Bloom's taxonomy, HOTS, which really just stands for higher order thinking skills, Webb's depth of knowledge, which may be new to many of you, and Webb 2.0 tools. As always, our blended course, Integrating Your Blended Course meeting schedule is found in the calendar. So instead of posting it here, Jan and I keep the calendar up to date so it shows up on latest updates and you can click to see what's coming up. The first section in this module deals with academic integrity. You can see that there is a lesson beginning the study. The lesson is going to cover academic honesty, who owns, so copyright, fair use, Teach Act, Creative Commons, and then images and copyrighted work. This is an area that I find many teachers do not necessarily model for your students, and it's very important, especially with the online environment, to make sure that we are doing this. After you have your academic integrity lesson, then there is an assignment called Academic Honesty and You. This is not to be a judgmental thing. This is to really just reflect on where you are at. So you do need to see if your school has an academic honesty policy in place. If you don't know, you should check your handbook. If you can't find it in the handbook, that might be a great thing to discuss with your administrator. If it does, how do you address it in your classroom? And if not, how do you address academic honesty in your classroom? You're going to look at integrity of your use of others' creative works and your students' use of others' creative works. I know as the library media specialist, often teachers are not requiring students to cite images and audio that they use in their presentations. We're really good about textual information, but it's a really quick and easy way to introduce students by having them look at the copyright for images and sounds and make sure that they are properly citing. How do you make sure your students copyright their work or yours? And we are hinting here to create a Creative Commons for your work. It only takes about 2 minutes to make a license, and they really would like you to do that. So you're going to add your message, which is going to cover this academic honesty, and that will be your submission for this assignment. Then there is a discussion post after your academic honesty assignment is complete. You are going to read through the INACOL Standard E, which talks about modeling and guiding students in legal and ethical use, and then answer the questions about modeling and resources that you can provide to your students. The next area is what is project-based learning, and again we start with a lesson that introduces you to project-based learning. It includes the use of videos, links to additional information about project-based learning. Goes deeply into the importance of crafting a driving question. The provocative, open-ended, challenging question is really what creates a project-based learning situation. You will have a question that checks your understanding of what you have just learned. Explore the links between project-based learning and the Common Core. And then are provided examples of project-based learning in action. When you complete the lesson, you can see that there is a discussion where you will have to consider how project-based learning will fit into your environment. Please note that you are to share your ideas, then go back and read through your colleagues for additional ideas, and share your thoughts of expansion or modification with your colleagues. The next lesson is 5 pages long and covers Bloom's taxonomy, but it gives you a chance to review and then how it applies in the digital age. So after going over the revisitation, you will look at taxonomy and collaboration, how it applies in the digital world, and using apps and Web 2.0 to support Bloom's. Your discussion piece following the lesson will then be you describing a way you use collaboration or teamwork tools in your learning environment to involve students in higher order thinking skills. So again, we call those HOTS. So when you hear people referring to HOTS, it's just higher order thinking skills. The next lesson is Webb's depth of knowledge. There is a great little video to introduce the topic to you, as many people are not as familiar with Webb's depth of knowledge as they are with Bloom's taxonomy. After the video introduction, there is another lesson played that goes into a little more depth, including defining Webb's depth of knowledge levels. You will have a 1-question quiz just as a little check for understanding before moving forward. Then you are introduced to Webb's depth of knowledge wheel. So instead of the triangle hierarchy, Webb's uses a wheel, and you can see the 4 levels that are discussed in the previous lesson page, and then what those look like, how you would have them do that. So instead of the triangle we're used to with Bloom's taxonomy, this looks at a wheel. And then the next 2 lesson pages really just go into more explanation comparing Bloom's and Webb's in a way that doesn't force us to choose one over the other, but exploring their similarities and their differences so that we have a greater understanding of both of the concepts and how to apply them in our classroom. After the lesson, we again follow up with a discussion. In this one, you are asked to share how you can use some of the information in the activities that you already do in your classroom and as you create online ones. Then you're asked to reflect on your colleagues' responses. Make sure that you reply and share how their responses have resonated with you. The last activity under higher order thinking is a glossary. What's in a question? And in this glossary, you are asked to develop and share a question or problem you could pose to your students in your next unit of study. So this is related to, again, both a project-based learning, what we learn about Bloom's taxonomy and Webb's depth of knowledge, along with the Web 2.0 tools that could be used. So I want you to note that Jan and I will be looking for all of that information as we grade this. Make sure you look at your question or problem, your curricular area, the age of your students, and then a brief explanation of the process you see happening with your class. Your entry will have to include all of that information. When you're done, then you're expected to read through your cohort's posed questions, and to further collaborate, select one of the following to complete for at least 3 of your cohorts. So this will not be marked complete until you do 3. Now, just a quick note, you will notice that it's a lot more collaborative in this particular module. That's going to mean there may be some lag time between when you post and going back and responding. So you could be working way ahead of the group and see that part 1, question 1 you have done, but if no one else does, then question 2 is going to wait. Because of this, you might have to move forward with your next assignment or the next part, but then go back. That can be difficult, but that is what collaboration looks like online. So I would encourage everyone to get caught up and be working with the class as much as possible so we can work through this collaboration piece. And for the people who are working ahead, just be patient. You may move forward to the next section, but make sure that you remember to come back and do the responses. Towards the end, they're going to ask you to return to the INACOLD standards, this time looking at A, and consider knowledge, understanding, and abilities addressed to be successful. You are going to be asked to think of ways you can start small, getting your students engaged, and some activities that you can implement. You're going to create an activity in your environment, engage your students in it, and get their feedback. Be sure to ask them what they might like to see changed, and then you post a screenshot of your activity. So similar to the previous assignment where it was collaborative, this is going to take some time. So there will be some lag between you creating this and going back and posting. This is not a module that you're going to be able to do overnight. You can see that there's a lot of pedagogy and thinking, and the application part requires some response and feedback, and that's required for your submission. Think about this as you are planning over the next 2 weeks for this particular module. For those of you who have circumstances that might make this difficult, please be sure to contact Jan and I so we can help you problem solve. But again, remember what you are doing is not only creating the activity, but your students must actually participate in the activity, and then they must be surveyed to get feedback, and you are to use that as your actual assignment submission. Now that you've completed your study of integrating into your blended classroom as well as the collaborative activities, we finish out the module just like we do any other module. Your tracking form, please make sure that you are filling out all areas and indicating what module color is being used as you move forward. Then your course reflection. The put and take if you have anything interesting you'd like to share, and then of course the feedback that we need. Please make sure that you are not doing your blended reflection or your feedback until you have actually completed all areas of the module. Those are things that don't usually take quite as long, but you can't really do a reflection on the module if you have not done the collaborative parts, if that has not finished, because that's so integral to what you are learning in this particular module. Just a reminder to always be using your calendar to check your dates, whether they are office hours, meeting schedules, when modules open, or targeted completion dates. You can see in this module why it is important to catch up and stay on track with the suggested completion so that you can work collaboratively with one another. This is going to be more challenging in terms of time and the fact that there will be wait periods as you have your collaborative experiences. This can be challenging, but we will work through the process. Please let Jan or I know if you experience any difficulties or frustration so we can help you with that. Thank you for watching the video. This is much longer than what you would ever do with your students. An almost 15-minute video is too much for them, but I didn't want to break it into several videos, so you guys get stuck with a long one this time. Enjoy your evening. Again, I apologize I was not able to be with you live, but I will be in the chat room for office hours, so if you have any questions about the module or the information I've shared, I'd be happy to discuss them with you this evening.